All right, we're going to go into the second phase of this scene that we're going to do, and I thought that it would be a better way of showing you how to do this by giving you some ideas of what is happening here. Now, of course, we have our figure that we have carved, all right? And now this scene actually involves several things. It involves the snow, of course. It needs a base, so I found one of these. You can get these at Hobby Lobby, but this is a base that we're going to have our piece on, and it's just a wooden base. Looks like actually a piece of wood that's been cut off, and Hobby Lobby sells these. So I got the base, and this base is about, let me just kind of measure it just a little bit. Now it doesn't have to be, you can have a little bit bigger base. I try to find as small a base as possible because then I don't have to make so much snow and things like that. So this base is around, yeah, I figured out about 4 inches across. It's a 4x4 base. It's 4 inches across, but it has to be big enough so that you can have the scene. In other words, that it can be in that way. And anyway, I have already done part of it, and that's what I'm going to show you. First of all, let's take the character, for instance. That first. Okay, now the actual character himself is going to have to be carrying a gasoline can. Okay, so we're gonna put this aside and first of all work on what I'm going to try to tell you here. Now, when you make him a gasoline can that he's carrying, and all I did was put I just drilled a little hole through his hand here, which is no big deal. And you want to measure from the hand down, the end of the hand down to his shoes, because you don't want the gasoline can to be laying on the ground when he's holding it, okay? So this is only about a half an inch, which I only have about 3/4 of an inch long here. Now it may be a little bit longer if your character's a little bit taller or whatever, but it's only about 3/4. So I cut a half inch long. This is a wood dowel is what it is. And let me say exactly, I'm using a wood dowel for the gasoline can, and it is precisely about, it's not quite a half an inch wood dowel, which is probably, it's around 3/8, somewhere around there. 3/8 inch wood dowel, and that makes it just perfect because I'm going to attach a little wire to it, and the wire is going to go through the hand, and he's going to be carrying it just like, let me get my hand out of the way, just like this, and that's going to be the gasoline can he's carrying. Now you see the spout that's on the gasoline can, all right? Now when I make my hobos and stuff, and I use them a lot, I love to use, and they're hard to find now because coat hangers, the old-timey coat hangers that we used, and now you can buy some newer ones, but they have plastic over the coating, but you can cut that plastic coating off. The old-time coat hangers are perfect for things like this, making little. In fact, that's what I use to make the little, on the hobos, the little stick that goes and holds the little things in the back. I don't know what you call it, the little sack packs, whatever. Those are coat hangers. That's part of a coat hanger. And so I had the coat hanger, and I just made the little spout for the gas can. And I'm going to paint the gas can orange, and write gas on it, and then I'll paint the spout a black color, and that will be the gas can that he'll be holding in his hand. And the whole purpose of it is the fact that he's run out of gas, and that he ends up there going, and the sign, well, we'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, I'll show you how I made the gas can. Okay? So it's real simple, nothing to it. Now you don't have to use a coat hanger wire, but I love to use it because it's so flexible. You can actually use a nail or something, but the problem is a nail, you have to heat it up to be able to bend it a lot of times. So the coat hanger wire is just so much easier to use and so much better to use. It's so much easier to do. And I made that, and I made the spout on it. So that's, as far as our character is concerned, those are the two things that we're doing. Now the next thing that we're going to get into, and I want to show you this, is the actual sign itself that he walks up to and he's looking at. And the whole process of it is, it's snowing outside, he's going to be full of snow, and he sees this gas station that he passed up, and it says 10 miles back. You see the gas station, and there you go. That's my brother-in-law coming in, but I'm just what you see is this will be the sign, and it's sort of a play on humor as we make the snow and everything like that. So I'm going to explain to you today how that you make this sign and for the actual scene itself, in other words. Now, it's really not that hard. It looks hard. Now, if you look at the sign, you look at it, it looks worn out, and it looks bad. Because most of the time, years ago, these old signs along the road, people would put these signs up, and they were not like billboards, they were just signs. And most of those signs rather looked decrepit, or had been they've been weathered and everything like that. So this was the kind of look I wanted to give it. Now, you ask yourself, how did he make this sign? How did he do this? Well, it's really not that hard. If you look at the sign itself, it is basically just a piece of, I think this is 1/4-inch wood, cut in a square the size of the sign, and this is a dowel on the back of it. And that dowel is just, all it is you just glue it to the back of it. Now, let me explain to you how in the world did I able to get this design on this sign. Well, there's the key, and there's the thing that you learn to do. What you do is you go, and you can do this, you could just put like images, Google images of last gas sign, and all these images will come up and show you these images of these signs showing that says last gas chance, and do all of them. You don't have to use this sign. I just like this sign particularly. And it says last chance gas, and at the top it's hard to read, but it says get it, something about, my old eyes are pretty bad, but it says don't wait too long or whatever before you get it. So, and there were certain areas, there were certain times where, especially in areas that had long stretches of driving maybe 3 hours or whatever it was without finding a gas station. Now you don't see that too much today, but you would drive, and they would have these stations that said, you know, last gas for 300 miles, last gas for 200 miles, last gas for 100 miles, and stuff like that. And we used to see those stations a lot. And sure enough, you wouldn't see a station for probably 3 hours or more, or maybe 2.5 hours or whatever. Now, that has changed, I admit. But like I said, we don't work in a daily thing. This is just a form of humor, and a lot of people would remember this. So, how you make this sign is very, very simple. Is the fact that you print out these Now, since your printer, I don't know how your printer works, but mine doesn't do all that well, but all of these say last gas and stuff like that, and you have different signs that you can say and all that other stuff, okay? And you can use any of these signs. Now, what you want to do is try to print the sign, and when you go to your printer, you can make different you know, you can have different sizes of them. So when you get to these images of these printers, now first of all, before I go any further, let me say this, okay? If you're going to print this out, do not use regular copy paper. Get you some of that, and you can go to Walmart and get it. It's called that card. It's like a greeting card type printing paper, where it's a much stronger and almost like a old, what was it, index cards? Remember the old index cards we had? And it's like that strength of paper, in other words. And this is what you want to get, because basically when you go to glue on copy paper, it has a tendency to not glue very well or tear or whatever. So you want a little bit stronger of the card type paper. Now this is just regular printing paper, but don't use this. Use the card type paper, greeting card, as we say, type paper. And they have it at Walmart. It's not expensive or anything like that. And that's what I use for this sign. I printed out this sign right here. Then you take the sign, and I got some 1/4 inch. I had some 1/4 inch basswood or 1/4 inch. I think it was basswood. I think I had some of the craft type basswood. And I just took some regular wood glue or white wood glue, and I glued this onto a piece of 1/4 inch plywood. Excuse me, 1/4 inch basswood. And then once it dried, you know, then I cut it out. I took my bandsaw and I cut out the sign. Okay? So, very simple. You cut out this portion of the sign with the card paper. You glue it onto a piece of, and it doesn't have to be 1/4 inch if you have 3/16, if you have a thing. You want your sign a little bit, but always try to remember, try to get your sign, try to get it to fit the person. Now this could have been a bigger sign, you know, it could have been a bigger sign and higher up. But I chose it to be about this high for the individual itself as he's walking along the side of the road. So this says last chance gas, and I weathered it a little bit. Now, before we go any further, let me describe this down here. Now you can't really see this too good. It says 10 miles and it has an arrow going that way. And all I did was draw out one of those arrow type signs. You know, remember, now you don't, like I said, you don't see that a lot. But used to, you would see these old wooden signs, and they would have a wooden arrow on them to go this way or that way and all that other stuff. So, and this one says 10 miles back that way is what it is. And that's the humor of it, the last chance gas, and the guy, he's walking and he comes up on this sign and sees it and he realizes he's got 10 miles to go before he can get gas, which he should have gotten gas to begin with. But as you can see, it is, I just cut out a little arrow and I painted it yellow, and I glued it on to the bottom of this sign here, and like someone had just, you know, put that on there, or they you know, not someone, but the business had just put it on there. There's 10 miles that way. And what I did is I took it, before I glued it into the base, I took it, and a lot of people don't do this, but what I did is I took it and I burned it. I burned it so that it looked like it would look worn, and you know, that had been sitting there a long period of time. And if you look at the sign, and I mean, I actually took it and I burned it. Is what. Now, don't burn this part of it. You don't want to burn this where you can't read it, okay? because you want it to be readable, but you also want it to look old. So when you burn from the back of it and everything like that, it gives it that look to it. And I did the same thing with this sign. So it looks like it's old, okay? So when the guy comes up there, in other words, he sees the sign and he realizes, you know, I really screwed up by not, you know, not getting the gas when I should have and everything like that. And he has the gas can with him, so he's got 10 miles more to walk before he can get any gas, and or whatever, you know, he get towed or whatever. In other words, and you have to realize this humor. Now today, you people are so lucky to have cell phones. I remember a time when we didn't have cell phones, folks. We did not have cell phones. If you got stuck on the side of the road, you just got stuck, and you had to walk. Now people they got cell phones. They can call AAA, they can call, hey, I'm over at this place and all that other stuff. And that's the wonderful thing about cell phones, I will admit. When you get broke down somewhere, you can, in any time of the day, you can call up and find somebody. You can even call 911. Hey, I'm broke down here on this thing and I'm scared, and the police will show up or whatever. So cell phones are great. But I'm going back to an era where there wasn't a lot of cell phones, and a guy, and I have done this. I got broke down one time, and I had to literally walk, I don't know how long, it was a long ways to the next town. And you walked until you went to the next town and found somebody. Or somebody stopped and gave you a lift and let you, you know, drove you into the next town and everything like that. So that is what I'm playing on. This is not a modern day type little setup, but it's just a humorous setup. So you want him here with this little gas can in his hand, and he's looking at this sign, realizing, hey, I messed up. I should have filled up before I left and everything like that. So that is the purpose of the, okay, and I put this all together, and then I took the burner, and do not burn this area in here, because then you won't be able to see what it says. You don't want to do that. But if you burn from the sides and behind it and everything like that, you want to be careful and control your burn. You don't want to just set it on fire, in other words. But I mean, and so it looks worn, it looks completely weathered and everything like that. So that is how you create that little thing. So all you did is I glued it on there, I cut it up, cut it off, and then I glued my dowel onto it, which is, I think, 3/16 or something like that. And then I cut out a little arrow. It says 10 miles. It's hard to read that 10 miles because I just wrote it on there, but it doesn't matter, because the sign is supposed to be warm, but you can only see it anyway. And so that's how you do it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my figure ready. I'm going to paint it and put it together, and then once we do that, then I'll come back and I'll show you the way that I do the snow. Now I may do the snow a lot different than other people, but what I do is when I have my figure painted and on there and glued on there, and then I do the snow. Because if the snow even comes around and gets on his feet and all that stuff, then that's okay, because he's in a blizzard and all that stuff. Anyway, that's how it's to be done. So it's not that hard. Just try it. It's like anything else. You get pictures of something, and you glue it on something, and you cut it out. And so I've made my, this is the way the situation is going to be. And so we'll continue with it. God bless now.